Once upon a time, getting found online was about keywords, backlinks, and climbing that Google ladder. But here's the thing. The way people search is changing. We don't just search anymore. We ask, we talk. We expect direct answers, not just a list of blue links. And this is where Answer Engine Optimisation, or AEO, comes in. Today, I'm going to walk you through what it is, why it matters, and most importantly, how you can put it into practice in your own organization. Yes, folks, it's one to deploy. I'm Daniel Martin, and today we're talking beyond SEO, the rise of Answer Engine Optimization. So first up, what is Answer Engine Optimization? AEO is the evolution of SEO in a world that's dominated now by AI assistants, voice search, and featured snippets. So we're all using ChatGPT, we're all using Alexa, Alexa, however you pronounce it, I'm not sure she's that offended by it. Or Siri, I can't get that one wrong. We're all using these assistants that are backed by AI engines or LLMs, large language models, that go and do the searching for us. So the reality is it's trying to find what we are looking for by talking to us. We think we're talking to a human, we're of course not, but we're expecting a human style response. More than anything else, we're expecting an answer to our question. So instead of optimizing for clicks and traffic, you now need to optimize so your content is the answer to the question when someone asks a Siri, Alexa, Google, or ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Gemini, whatever it might be. Even Perplexity, even though they're already scraping your websites when they've been told not to do it. But that's a different podcast. The example here is, instead of something like best Italian restaurants near me, and then you'll see 10 links show up in Google and you click on one and away you go, the answer engine might do something like this. The top-rated Italian restaurant near you is Trattoria Roma on Main Street. So what's just happened there is the answer engine, whatever it is that you're using, has given you the top-rated Italian restaurant near you. It's up to you as the user at this juncture to say, oh, gee, don't know about that one. Can you give me some other options, please? And all of a sudden you're forking down a pathway with that LLM, with that AI engine, for it to give you other options. And who knows, you may end up at a French restaurant off the back of that, because the pathway that you've chosen to take whilst talking to your AI assistant LLM has created this conversation that is netting different search results. It is not the same as scrolling through 10 responses or 10 blue links in Google, or even looking on Google Maps to find your options, because you're having a conversation about the topic that you're looking for. You might end up talking about gelato, or you might talk about snails, and hence the French restaurant, or whatever it might be, and you'll end up somewhere very different from where you started. That is a different way of searching, and it is a different way of using the information that is available on the internet as a consumer. Think of this. Think of traditional SEO as writing a book and then trying to get it placed on the right shelf in the library. So we've written a book, and then we try and walk into the library and say, this book should sit right here, shelf 5, whatever it is, and try and get the librarian to put it there for you, even though the librarian hasn't necessarily read it or assessed it themselves. Answer engine optimization is like writing the book so well that the librarian quotes it word for word when someone asks a question. I'm going to say that again. Answer engine optimization is like writing the book so well that the librarian quotes it word for word when someone asks a question. So if we take our library analogy, and I'll recover it again, SEO is when I walk in there with the book that I've written and I ask the librarian, would you please put this on the right shelf for me? And the librarian may or may not do that, such that when a consumer walks in to try and find a book about a particular topic, they may or may not trip across your book because the librarian may or may not have decided to put it there for you. By contrast, with answer engine optimization, the consumer walks into the library, doesn't even look at the book, let alone the shelf, simply says to the librarian, I'm looking for X, And the librarian then is able to quote word for word the contents of your book because it was so good and because it answers the question that the consumer was looking to have answered. That's the difference between SEO and AEO. So why does this matter? Now, I spoke about this probably 3 or 4 years ago, and people thought I was a little bit crazy at the time, but I might have been ahead of the contemporaries at that particular moment in time. The shift to voice and AI-driven search. This is really why it matters. More people are speaking queries and expecting natural language answers. So this is a double-faceted one because the shift to voice has been happening for quite a while. Siri has existed for a long while. So has Alexa. So has Hey Google. All these things have existed. And people have been using them to varying degrees. But what they've been doing isn't AEO. It's SEO in voice. So if you think about the early days of Siri, you may say, hey Siri, can you please find the best Italian restaurants for me? It will go to Google or some other search engine potentially. I pause on that simply because Apple may not like using the Google one, but I think it did. It would go through and list the top 5 that it found off Google. It wouldn't have a conversation with you about which one was better or make some sort of assessment. It would simply pull out those responses and parrot them back to you. So voice was important because your website needed to be able to be understood by a voice engine, but it wasn't about answering a question. It was quite simply by being readable to that voice engine. Now we stick AI behind it. All of a sudden AI is making assessments for you because it has its own cognitive ability. So people are expecting these natural language answers and conversations with a search engine. Your content needs to support that desire and support the AI behind the voice engines. Zero-click searches are rising. So what's a zero-click search? It's a really, really easy one, and we've all done it before. Google and others are often finding the answers for people directly without the users even clicking through to your website. So this very much is the featured snippet thing. If anyone in the tech world is listening to this right now, you'll know exactly what I mean. Zero click means I go to Google, I look for, how do I tie my shoelaces? And Google, or if you take Brave as an example, because the Brave search does a really good job of this, it will go and find answers for you, summarize those answers, usually using AI now, or just straight up featured snippets, which are extracts directly from a website, and give you the answer in your search engine page. So it's never even going to the website. It might pull references from the website, and you could choose to click through if you wanted to, but it's not actually showing, it's providing people with the information they need without them clicking through to your website. So you need to be able to provide that information so that Google or whatever search engine it is shows it to the consumer without them going to your website. Brand authority. So if your brand is the answer, then you gain instant credibility. Now this happens for us quite a bit because our number 2 website traffic driver is in fact ChatGPT. So for our website, astondigital.com.au, our second largest traffic driver, and like it's borderline on par with Google now, believe it or not, is ChatGPT. The reason for that is in the very early days, I'm talking probably 10 years ago, I started writing search specific content that was answering questions for people versus just putting up, services pages and stuff like that. So people would find our website based off things like featured snippets or answers to the questions that they were looking for. ChatGPT has worked that out. And now all of a sudden it's answering people's questions based off our website and then referencing us. People will then click through. I mean, we have the proof of that. How many people have read that content, read that it came from our website, but not clicked through? I'll bet there's a few. And for competitive advantage, the reality is very few businesses are actively optimizing for this yet. So early adopters will get a disproportionate visibility and disproportionate advantage. So do it now and you'll beat other people simply because people aren't yet doing it. Section 3, how do we implement AEO? Well, this is a little bit like how long is a piece of string, But there is lots of different tools that you can easily implement small pieces of to start building out your AEO strategy at a bare minimum. Starting off, we have step number 1. Firstly, you want to identify common questions. So use tools like Answer the Public, People Also Ask, or straight up your customer service inbox. Find out what it is that people are actually asking for in your industry segment. A really, really easy way of doing this is going to Google and start writing in your question. So begin to, how do I tie, and wait at that, and it will then do suggested searches. Those suggested searches are often, not always, but often what other people have searched as well, which will then give you a really good idea of what people are searching for in your sector. Write down the exact wording of those real questions. The exact wording is pivotal. Step 2, structure your content for answers. So what you want to do here is you want to have short, clear answers at the very top of your article or your page, whatever it is you're writing. We're talking here 1 to 2 sentences. Again, remembering the wording that you got from the question above. Then below that, you want deeper explanation that follows for the context. So imagine if I was reading your page, I would be able to very quickly get answers to my questions. And then if I think, hang on a tick, I want to know what they really mean by that, I can scroll down and get the full context of that answer in the detail further below. Then you want to use things like FAQs, so frequently asked questions, or Q&A style sections with headings included that are all in natural language. So don't talk geeky or don't talk techie, talk natural language and Q&A style. That's great for AEO because it helps someone like ChatGPT or any LLM, large language model, helps it read your content and decide, oh yeah, that sounds pretty much like what the person's asked. I'm going to give them that answer. So that's how you structure your content. Step 3, you want to optimize for featured snippets and rich results. Now, this is a little bit old school, but it's still relevant today. So featured snippets and rich results live in that 0-click realm where you'll get shown on Google in context with a snippet of your website shown as the answer to a question rather than quite simply a link through to your website. The way that you do that is when you create a page, you use lots of formatting. So lists, tables, bullet points, definitions, stuff like that. Using the schema markups that are publicly available now helps search engines understand your content in context. When you use these formatting methodologies, and I said that they've been around for quite a while, when you do that, it helps the featured snippets and rich results section analyze your site and say, this little bit here looks like what I'm looking for. I'm going to show it to my user. Step 4, think conversationally. Write your article or your web page like you're answering a person, not just ranking for a keyword. So write it like you're having a conversation. An example would be something like, instead of saying benefits of vitamin C as the heading to the article, you might say something like, what are the benefits of vitamin C? Exactly the same context. And in fact, you're using the same keywords, benefits of vitamin C, but you're putting it as a question. Or an answer even. What are the benefits of vitamin C? Step 5, build trust signals. So this is things like citations, references, or external expertise. Authority matters now even more than it did before because you want to be, quote, the answer. So if you can justify how you came about being the answer and reference other sources that support your position or quite simply your answer, then that will help the LLMs think or understand how valid your response is. So if all of a sudden, you're citing Einstein's theory, E equals mc squared, theory of relativity, and you're citing Einstein in your article, and it is relevant to the answer that you're providing, ChatGPT, Alexa, Google, Siri, whoever, will read that and say, well, this is including Einstein stuff, and he's real, so yep, this is probably trustworthy. Step 6, rather ironically, is test in AI tools. So literally ask ChatGPT, our mates at perplexity.ai, or even your Google Assistant, ask it your targeted questions and see if your brand comes up. It's pretty straight up simple. Just ask it what you think people are asking and see whether you show up. If you don't, then adjust your content until you are the one that's quoted. Unlike the Google search bubble it still exists, but it's less pertinent these days. Unlike the bubble where that bubble would shift a lot based on how Google was choosing to rank at a particular point in time and where in the world you were, what you've searched before, all this kind of stuff that fed into what results you were shown, AI is much clearer than that. You can quite simply ask it the question and it will go find out if it can answer that for you. So you can run this over and over and over again until you become the one that gets quoted. Bingo, you're the answer that people are looking for. You get the traffic to the website. So that's your 6 steps that you can implement to make AEO the center of your content strategy rather than SEO. Answer Engine Optimization isn't about the death of SEO. It's just the next chapter. The brands who adapt will become the ones that everyone hears about. Not because people clicked their link, but because they were the answer. That's the key. They were the answer. So your one to deploy for today, your one takeaway for today is this. Ask yourself, what questions are my customers really asking? And then, can I make my business the one that answers them? This has been One to Deploy. I'm your host, Daniel Martin. And as usual, thank you for listening. Think sharp, build bold, one to deploy.